Okay, today might be a little bit boring, but it's at least going to be a deviation from what my last video was. I've been saying I don't want all of our posts here to be completely topic-based. I want to mix in some personal stuff from now and then. And I don't mean personal in the sense that I'm going to share like intimate details of my life. I just mean that today is going to be more about me and less about television. Because today I'm going to be talking about my journey from Oklahoma to North Carolina. Stephen, I apologize in advance because I know I've already told you some of these stories, but I don't want to skip around, so I'm just going to go start to finish, and I apologize if it's redundant. Okay, so our story begins in Oklahoma City, May 2013. That's when we first moved there. And from the very beginning, we knew that our time in Oklahoma City was going to be finite. We knew we were only going to be living there for a little over a year. So when we were looking around trying to find a place to live, we were looking more at cost and less at like comfort. And what we eventually found was a little fourplex apartment building, which we actually liked. I mean, on the outside, it wasn't much to look at. It looked kind of like a fort, but on the inside, it definitely had character. It wasn't terribly small. The kitchen wasn't galley style. It had all hardwood flooring. It had plenty of windows. So we found that place in March or April, moved in May, and I would say it was about 2 months in that the honeymoon with this place was pretty much officially over. It was about mid-July when the central air conditioning broke, which means that for the rest of the summer, including the hottest part of the summer, we had to endure with window air conditioning units, which are A, noisy, and B, not completely effective, especially when it's incredibly hot outside like it is in summer in Oklahoma. It was also about that time I discovered our roof leaked, and when I say leaked, I don't mean like dripping, I mean like streams of water would pour in at about 6 different parts of the apartment every single time it sprinkled outside. Plus our heater broke during the winter, our downstairs neighbors were drug dealers, our next door neighbor was a felon who was out on parole, and during the spring and summertime, our landlord so seldomly mowed the front lawn that we had a notice basically every other week from the city posted on our front door saying that our lawn needed to be mowed. And yes, we could have moved at any point, but we kept telling ourselves it's just a year. So moving from Oklahoma to North Carolina, the question was how? How do we get our stuff from point A to point B? Well, first of all, we made it easier on ourselves by lightening the load by selling all of our living room furniture and our kitchen furniture. And then after that, it was basically just a matter of looking at all the moving companies and services and seeing which one was going to be most cost effective and which one was going to work logistically, because we also had to get 2 cars out to North Carolina. What we settled on was the U-Box. A U-Box is a service offered by U-Haul, which basically is just a big wooden box that you load up and they ship wherever you want. So as we packed over the next couple of months and our pile of boxes started to grow and grow and grow, I became more and more concerned that this was actually going to fit in the U-Box. I was not convinced, so I did the next logical step. I made a 3D diagram of the box. I mean, it wasn't really 3D, it was just several pieces of paper where I show every single angle of the box. I went onto the U-Haul website and got the exact dimensions of the U-Box, and then I measured our boxes and basically figured out a way to fit our boxes in the U-Box. By the time I was finished, like, packing the U-Box on these pieces of paper, it was only about 2/3 full. So at this point, I wasn't concerned. I was like, this is gonna fit, it says so on the diagram. Skip to August 1st, Friday night. This is the night that we pick up the U-Box and take it home to load it up. So we start bringing everything downstairs, loading it in the U-Box, and almost immediately I say, okay, this is not fitting like I have it on the diagram. So I take a tape measure downstairs and measure the box from edge to edge, and turns out the dimensions of the U-Box that's listed on the website were wrong. Basically, they didn't take into account the fact that each wall on the U-Box is about 1 inch thick, which you might say, 2 inches, that's not a big deal, that can't make that big of a difference. But it does make a difference if you have diagrammed this box out to the inch, to the point where if you are 2 inches off, then instead of being able to put 5 boxes side by side, you can now only put 4 boxes side by side. So basically my diagram was out the window and we had to start from scratch. Between the work we did that night and getting up early the next morning, we were able to fit pretty much everything in the U-Box. We were short a couple of small items of furniture and a box, and we just dropped those off at the local Goodwill. So this is strike 1 against U-Haul. Actually, I think technically that'd be strike 2, because in the 2 months leading up to us actually physically getting the U-Box, we had to go back to the U-Haul store several times because they kept messing up the shipping destination. But Trish was pretty much taking care of that. So we drop off the U-Box, and the arrival date is going to be about a week and a half, which we tell them if you can ship it sooner, please do, because until you ship this U-Box, we are going to be living with Trish's sister because, you know, we don't have a bed in our new apartment. And they tell us, yeah, we'll ship it as soon as possible. A week and a half goes by, we haven't heard from U-Haul, so I give customer service a call, and they tell me we don't know where your U-Box is. That's not technically what they said. What they said was that we cannot track U-Boxes. We can tell you when it was shipped, and we can tell you when it is delivered, but we cannot tell you anything in between. And it wasn't on time. It was a few days late. Strike 3. We pick up the box. We literally have a team of people standing around this box ready to go when we rip off the tarp, unlock the lock, try to open it, and find out it's dead bolted shut. So one of our helpers has to run home, get tools, get back, and then we can open it and unload it. That was strike 4. According to U-Haul, they didn't forget to take out the deadbolts. They put those in everybody's U-Boxes, and they just hand tighten them so that you can just pull them out yourself. I wrote an email about this whole thing to U-Haul's customer service, very passive-aggressively, but of course got no response. And then fast forward, we've been living in this apartment now for 7 months, and we have heat, and we have central AC, and the roof doesn't go to hell every time it rains. We both have jobs, which we love. I'll probably go into that in future videos. So yeah. Boring personal video is over. This video would have probably been a lot better if I'd actually done this right after the event happened, like originally planned, and not 7 months later. Stephen, I hope to see you soon, and I hope you make a video even sooner.